Good morning, everyone. I think Benjamin is just waking up, but anyway, I'm sitting out watching one of my hives, and um, there's just a lot of activity. It's just kind of interesting. All of the pollen that they're bringing in, and they're bringing in tons, is either gold or white. You can see it on their legs. It's the little pouches. Those of you that don't know, uh, they carry pollen in pouches on their legs, and you can see it in some of them as they're bringing it in. Uh, we're moving into September, and I'm starting to get a little, not concerned, but wanting to prep for winter and make sure we have everything in order. I have a jar of a jar of sugar water here for them, and it's an open feeder, so really bees from anywhere could be using it, but it's kind of neat if you watch. They fly out, and some are not even flying. They're just crawling back and forth from the hive to the sugar water, which is kind of cool. But the vast majority of them are... My cat likes to play with the chickens. They don't think it's very funny. Um, anyway, he ambushes them, especially the little ones. But he doesn't mean any harm. He's just playing. Um, we're moving into September, and it gets colder here a little sooner than the New Orleans area where I grew up. So it's time to start planning for winter with these folks. I'm having to monitor how much pollen they're bringing in. There's quite a bit of brood in this hive. It's a hive that's getting ready to explode. The queen is doing very well, and how much honey stores they're going to have to make it through the winter, which is why I'm giving them sugar water, because there's really not a whole lot of anything blooming right now. Most of this pollen they're bringing in, I'm thinking, and I don't know for sure, but I'm thinking comes from crepe myrtles. Um, Crepe myrtles are very popular in Middle Tennessee, and what I've read, and it may or may not be true, it's just what I've read, is that crepe myrtles are great for pollen, but they don't produce a whole lot of nectar. So the reason I'm thinking they may be crepe myrtles is because it's one of the very few things I'm seeing blooming, and we have lots of them around. So and they're bringing in quite a bit of pollen that's either white or yellow. So it would make sense that it's, crepe myrtles that are white, or which there's one of my neighbors has tons of white ones blooming right now, or pollen that's yellow. Um, but anyway, you can see they're loving the sugar water. They entered a feeder from the bottom, and like I said, some of them are just crawling back and forth. They're not even bothering to fly. They're resting their wings, but they're bringing it back into the hive, and they'll evaporate it down and make a form of honey. Not anything you really want to eat or sell, just because it's not. I mean, it's made from sugar. It's not made from nectar, but it's definitely something they could live off of, um, just to make sure they have enough food storage for the winter. And I'm going to keep feeding them pretty heavily, and they're doing a good job of bringing in pollen, which is their protein source. Um, so I'm going to be keeping an eye on what kind of stores all of my hives have, and we'll make sure that they're good to go in the winter. As we prep for winter, I'll probably be making more videos with Benjamin's help. We'll talk about wrapping your hives for winter. It does tend to get cold here. I know if you're from Michigan or Minnesota, you're probably laughing at that, but to me it does get pretty cold. We get into the negative digits occasionally, and I just want to make sure that my first winter into honeybee hiving, that I don't want to lose any. So I've been reading a lot on why hives don't make it through the winter, and lately a lot of them have not been making it through the winter, and I want to make sure all of mine do. Come springtime, I'll be doing quite a few splits, meaning I'll be taking my hives and splitting them, making multiple colonies from each individual hive. My high number was 8 hives this year. I'm down to 6. I've had one that absconded, meaning they just up and left. I'm not really surprised. The numbers were dwindling. The queen was not laying. I was trying to figure out what to do. I was going to probably end up getting rid of that queen and combining it with another colony, but it wasn't much of a loss, to tell you the truth. So one of them absconded, and then another one that was queenless I combined with another, so I'm down to 6 hives right now. This spring, I'll be doing lots of splits, and yeah, I want to have like 15 or so for next year. So that's our video for today, and hope you liked it. Thanks for watching Beekeeping with Benjamin.